What up, Internet?
Hey there, camera.
Hello, friends.
How you doing?
We're okay.
Today, we're talking about a country that we visited back in 2017. It's part of our Reminisce series. And this country is...
Bulgaria.
We didn't spend a heck of a lot of time in Bulgaria on this trip. We only were able to see 2 cities, and even then, I'd say we only really saw 1 city. But we were able to take the train from Romania into
Sofia.
That was an interesting experience. The train cars were really cool. It felt kind of old-timey. It was a long train ride though. It was the better part of a day. And we arrived in Sofia pretty late at night. And then we had a really hard time finding our hostel, which is really sketchy. Super sketchy hostel. One of the sketchiest places I've ever stayed.
Yeah, maybe the most sketchy.
Yeah.
I didn't feel unsafe, but it just wasn't very clean.
It wasn't Chester. Like, I felt safe. Our bed sheets were wet in a way I couldn't explain, like moist, but covered in like hair as if somebody had just slept in them. And the room is literally the size of the bed. There was no walking space. You just come into the room and it's a bed. We only stayed there one night. Thankfully, we were out the next morning by like 6 a.m. So we really only spent the time we were asleep there.
It was super cheap, so you get what you pay for.
Yeah, I think we maybe paid $15.
And the staff was super friendly.
Yeah, exactly. And came with breakfast as well. And then we walked back to the train station and jumped on the train to
Plovdiv.
One interesting thing that happened to me in the train station though, I went over to get us some coffee from a little shop. I asked the lady for 2 coffees and she went...
Now, if you don't know, in Bulgaria, shaking your head means yes, nodding your head means no. And even equipped with that knowledge, that is a thing that's just impossible to flip when you need to.
And on top of that, the lady was pretty scowly and she's just like, I'm like, what did I do? Did I offend her or something? But then she got us 2 coffees.
It's weird to think of the Western equivalent if somebody asked you for coffee and you're like,
yeah.
Just mean mug nodding yes.
Maybe that's just how they do. And then we jumped on the train, which was really neat. I would highly recommend taking the train from Sofia to Plovdiv. A lot of people say take the bus instead because you don't get to see a lot from the train. The views from the train I thought were amazing, so I do not agree with those assessments of the train ride. It was super cheap. I think it was cheaper than taking the bus. And it only took, I think, a couple hours the most.
Trains are always better than buses.
And Plovdiv was amazing.
Agreed.
We only got to see 2 cities really in Bulgaria, but Plovdiv was easily, I believe, both our favorites, right?
It's just one of our favorite cities that we've ever visited.
It's probably my favorite city in Europe, to be honest. It's not super touristy, which we like to avoid if possible. There's ruins everywhere, Roman ruins, so you'd be walking down the street and like a shop would have their things displayed on an old piece of Roman wall, and so you could just walk and climb all over Roman ruins if you wanted to. Another really cool thing is they were digging, I guess, in the main city square, and they found an amphitheater underneath the main city square.
Super cool.
So they've uncovered part of that, and you can see it down and below the street. It's really, really cool. Also, something I'd seen on Instagram like years before was this really cool looking like amphitheater built into a mountain. And I think it was in the 90s, they uncovered this really cool little amphitheater in the mountain. And I actually got to, I saw this on Instagram and I thought I'm never gonna see that, but that'd be really cool if one day I could see that.
You saw it.
And we got to see it, and it was just as amazing as I thought it would be. And we were basically the only people there. That's like one of the main attractions in Plovdiv, and we had it to ourselves.
Another really cool thing about Plovdiv, outside of all the history, is street art. New, fancy, awesome looking street art. Great city for that.
Mm-hmm. In terms of your favorite thing you ate in Bulgaria, can you think of anything?
We ate some breaded street foods that were good.
I remember having some type of a pastry that was stuffed with cheese and potato, which is 2 of my favorite foods. If you know some really amazing Bulgarian dishes though, let us know, because we really want to go back and see more of Bulgaria, and let us know what we should seek out while we're there. Not really sure what's traditional. This trip is planned very spur of the moment, last second. So if there's things we should see in Bulgaria or foods we should try, we definitely recommend you let us know down below. Accommodation, what was your favorite place we stayed?
Plovdiv, easily.
Yeah. Well,
it was just the 2, right? So
we stayed in 3 places. We stayed in the sketchy hostel we already talked about.
Oh yeah, the third, we went back to Sofia.
We went back to Sofia and stayed at a really cool place.
Yeah.
That place I would totally recommend.
But Plovdiv was cooler. There's the ghost on the wall.
And when we arrived, there was a big sign that said, welcome, Holly, Gable, Sandish, and friend.
And there's 2 tiny beds separated so we could pretend we were a couple in the 50s. There was breakfast there too in Plovdiv.
That's true. Yeah, and in the corner of the breakfast room, there was just like a piece of old Roman ruin. We bought some beers at a corner store and got the street...
Okay, that's my favorite meal, the beers.
We got the bread, the street food. And we sat on a little like bench area and listened to a guy play music while drinking our beers and eating our bread things. And that was amazing. It was my favorite meal. What's your favorite memory of our time in Bulgaria? Like, what was the favorite moment or highlight?
Probably visiting the Amphitheater. I thought that was really cool. Roman ruins in general certainly stand out. They were everywhere, and it's very different from Athens, where we also went on this trip, because you go anywhere near anything in Athens and somebody's blowing a whistle at you, whereas in Bulgaria, you can get right up close and really see all sorts of detail.
Oh, there's a lot more in Sofia than what we got to see. We basically just did a really quick whirlwind tour of like the highlights on our one evening we had there. And that was really neat. Like, we went into the plaza of a hotel, and in the middle of that was this ruins of what I think is either a bathhouse or a church or both.
That was really cool.
Again, I can't really read Bulgarian. Yeah, in those ruins, they were having like a church service in a ruined church, and the whole thing was lit by candle because there was no electricity in the church. And just to hear like the singing coming from this ruined church with the glowing of the candles was really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
And we got to see the main cathedral.
What's it called?
Alexander something Cathedral.
You learned it here first, folks. Yeah, we certainly do need to go back. Talking about it now really shines a light on how much more we need to explore. Tip of the iceberg, I'm sure.
Yeah. So thanks so much for watching, camera, and I hope you like these reminiscence series.
Yeah.
Next time, I guess we'll be talking about Greece.
Yep.
So let us know. Have you been to Bulgaria? Would you go to Bulgaria?
And what do we need to see next time?
Yeah.
It's a good Bumble sign off.
Keep bumbling. Bumble on. Bumbles away.
Bumble on the next.
A bumble away. A bumble away.
A bumble away. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like and all that shit.
Take luck, camera.
Yeah.